Hola amigos, hola amigas, welcome, bienvenido, croeso salam, welcome to the channel y'all, Chash and Yakshimash, good day y'all. So, as you guys would have seen in last week's video, I have a penchant for collecting cars, these little cars, and the scale that I find the most, or the nicest, is the 1/43 scale. So I have a number of these cars, and some that I've bought now, that means something to me, as in I've been driven in them, somebody I know had one, or somebody in the family or parents or somebody had it. Now this is the Ford Escort GL from 1982. This is the third generation of the model Escort, and it did provide a little bit of controversy at the time. So, my history with this car is that my mum's friend Julie, who lived across the road, worked in a social club as a bar lady. And when I was 16, maybe 15, I worked there as well on a Friday night, or was it a Saturday night, as a glass collector. So I wouldn't work behind the bar, I would just be collecting glasses in the social club. So, Julie had one of these, and she had one in blue, which seemed to be a very popular colour at the time. And what I remember from it was that it was a bit of a bone shaker. Now, this would have been in around 1989, roughly. Let me think. Yeah, roughly about 89, maybe 1990. All right. So I only worked there for, I don't know, a couple of months or whatever, over the summer holidays. And that is what we would get driven in every time we would go in there and coming back. And I do remember it was quite basic, a bit rough around the edges, a little bit noisy. I mean, by then it would have been about 6 years old. So in those days, 6 years old, the car was coming to the end of its life, basically. It had seen better days, and it was just a little bit rough around the edges. But I do remember it as being a fun car. It had a good bit of power into it for going up and down hills, and I really enjoyed it. So let's take it out of the box. Okay, so here we have the vehicle itself. Let's take the box off. The screw on the underneath of this is a bit of a weird one. It's like a triangle. So I've started it off. So I'm just going to take out the screw. A bit more. Come on. There we go. And the little base holding it on. Okay, so like I said, this is a 1/43 scale model. Let's move you in nice and close. And there you can see the vehicle in polar white. Lovely model. I gave it a little bit of a wipe over before we started. Right, let's get it on there and let's talk a little bit about the third Mark III Ford Escort. So the third generation of the Ford Escort was in production from September 1980 until February 1986. It was assembled in Halewood in England, Spain, Germany, and also in Brazil. So this generation came in a 3 or 5 door liftback, a 3 or 5 door estate, a 2-door cabriolet, or a 3-door van. They also made one as well for like a van with a higher top for wheelchair access. So this vehicle was codenamed Erica. The third generation Escort was launched in September 1980. The car, Ford's Europe's second front-wheel drive model, was originally meant to be called the Ford Erica, but ended up retaining the Escort name. Some say this was due to British consumers' reluctance to let go of the Escort badge, as the first 2 generations of Escort had been among Britain's most popular cars, with the Mark II being Britain's best-selling car in 1976. Sales in the United Kingdom increased, and by 1982 it had overtaken the aging Cortina as the nation's best-selling car, beginning an 8-year run as Britain's best-selling car. Unlike the Mark II, which had essentially been a reskin of the original 1968 platform, the Mark III was a completely new design and was conceived as a high-tech efficiency vehicle which would compete with the Volkswagen Golf and the Honda Civic, considered at the time the class benchmarks. The Mark III was therefore a major engineering and stylistic departure from the two previous models, the biggest changes being the adoption of front-wheel drive, the new hatchback body and the all-new CVH overhead camshaft engines. The suspension was fully independent all around, departing from the archaic leaf spring arrangement found on its predecessors, and the body shell was on average 75 kilograms lighter than that of the Mark II. Yet Ford claimed was the stiffer than the outgoing car. Ford, however, was conscious that loyal customers of the previous generation Escorts may be deterred by the Mark III's advanced design, and hence the car was marketed in the United Kingdom with the strapline, "Simple is efficient." It was Ford Europe's second front-wheel drive model launch, the first being the smaller Fiesta in 1976. The car used Ford's contemporary design language of the period, with the black louvered radiator grille and the straight rear lamp clusters, as well as introducing the aerodynamic bustleback bootlid stump, trademarked by Ford as Aeroback, which would be further developed in the forthcoming Sierra and Scorpio. The stump was proven to reduce the car's aerodynamic drag coefficient significantly, which was class-leading. The Escort Mark III was voted European Car of the Year in 1981, fighting off stiff competition from Italy's Fiat Panda and British Leyland's Austin Metro. From launch, the car was available in base, popular, L, GL, Ghia and XR3 trim. As was common for Ford during this period, there were different dashboard mouldings for high and low series trim levels. GL and above models had a slush moulded dashboard with soft field covering and full chrome embellishment. Basic and L specification models had a hard feel injection moulded dashboard with fewer holes for switches. The Mark III model from 1980 to 86 was the most common type of car on British roads in December 1989, with almost 1.5 million examples registered. The base dashboard was a sub-variation of this, which omitted the centre air vents, glove box, side demister vents and speaker grille, and only a two-position blower fan switch. These lead-in models were extremely basic even for their time. In addition to the aforementioned dashboard, they came with just partial door cards, no armrests, vinyl seats, cloth was an optional extra, and no rear parcel tray or push-button tailgate release. Consequently, these models sold very poorly, and most buyers opted for at least the L specification. A selection of features was available, either as standard fitment or optional extras depending on the model, including a tilt and slide sunroof, central lock-in and electric windows. All models except the base and L were fitted with a check light system for low fuel, low oil, low coolant, low screen wash and worn-out brake pads. Power steering was not available on the European Escorts, although it was available in the US Escort. The 1983 model saw the Ford ATX 3-speed automatic transmission, developed mainly for the US market, becoming available on the 1.6L engine, and the base model now had cloth seat trim as standard. The Escort was frequently the best-selling car in Britain during the 1980s and 90s. A total of more than 4.1 million Escorts of all generations were sold there over a period of 33 years. So there we go, my friends. That is my Ford Escort GL in white from 1982, and very fond memories of going to work in the social club with my mother's friend on the weekends. It was a bit of a bone shaker, and quite basic on the inside if you think about other cars that were around at the time. But yeah, it was definitely fun and will always be fond in my memory. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode with the Escort GL, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.